Hey, just wanted to pop on here real quick and say I'm going to make a more in-depth video once we find out more information about all this, but this is just my raw thoughts as they're coming to me. So check out the video. Thanks for watching.
Hi, bud. Hi. I don't even know how to start this video. So about 2 weeks ago, the Drone Racing League kind of fell apart. A lot of this video is speculation, and I'm going to try to make it clear what is just speculation and what is definitely known, because nobody really knows what happened or why things happened. But on September 18th, roughly 80% of Drone Racing League's staff was laid off. It's hard because obviously I'm really heartbroken for the league and for drone racing in general, but ultimately people lost their jobs and their livelihood, and that's got to be what's most heartbreaking of all. People who I'm friends with, people who have invested so much of their lives given to making the Drone Racing League what it is and was. But I just wanted to come on here and talk about it for a little bit. My thoughts and just kind of what happened. So the DRL is not the only drone racing league that there is. There's MultiGP, there's Street League, there's DCL, there's so many others that have also put so much work into making drone racing an incredible sport. But the DRL has always been the 1,000-pound gorilla, especially when it comes to spectator drone racing, that nobody else even kind of held a candle to him as far as the giant stadiums and the lights and the fans and just the commercialization of the drone racing. And it's fascinating. Most drone racing leagues were started by pilots or huge fans of drone racing, where the DRL was started by Nick Orbashevsky, who graduated from Harvard Business School and was always a business-minded guy who loved sports and just wanted to create a sport. And he's done so much for the community. I don't want to discount that, but it's just the DRL started very differently from all the other leagues. And they definitely wanted to commercialize drone racing for the good of the sport. I truly believe that it was never this, we're going to take it to $1 billion or we're going to drive it down to zero. But at the same time, unlike most other leagues, there are stakeholders in the DRL and there are investors and there are like big name brands that had a lot of money invested into the DRL trying to not only advertise their companies but to make a return on their investment. And so for that reason, it kind of was take it to the moon or drive it into the ground. There wasn't much in between because that's just how startups work. That's how businesses work. And DRL's not dead. I don't want to sound so morbid that they can't come back from this or that there's no shot that we're going to have a season this year, because I do think we're going to have a season this year, and I think that they're going to be able to continue some kind of form of a season, but it's very clear to everyone that it's going to look vastly different than it has in years past. In 2020, when the world shut down, DRL did an awesome job of hosting a season through the simulator as opposed to just canceling the season altogether. They were still able to host somewhat of a racing season just completely virtually. And I think it's really awesome, and I've talked about before on the channel, that a sport was able to innovate in such a way that people are able to continue to play the sport but completely online and from the safety and comfort of their home. And then after 2020, they still kind of had hybrid years, which felt like they were trying to save some money, and I'm sure that was a big contributor to it. But at the same time, it costs a lot of money to run the events, and they weren't making any ticket sales like they were for their IRL events. So I don't know the actual spreadsheets and the assets and liabilities that goes into all this stuff. It's complete speculation. They're a private company, and so I have no idea exactly their revenue streams. That being said, the DRL is going to look vastly different this year, and it may be a completely simulator race, but the pilots are still wanting that title of world champion. It's still going to be a competitive season. Assuming that there is a season, it's still going to be something that is worth watching somewhat. And startups in general are just really hard. Trying to get a business up from zero and make this multi-million-dollar corporation and business is an extremely impressive and difficult thing to do. And so much props to the people at DRL for pushing through and making an incredible multi-million-dollar business through drone racing. It's really pushed the sport into places that it has never been before. But when you're starting a business, you have to hyper optimize. And sometimes that means kind of forgetting about your core community because they may not be the best revenue stream for you. And I think that the DRL always had drone pilots in mind, but at the same time, at the end of the day, they're trying to make money and they were trying to build a successful business. So I'll admit that this is 100% speculation. Nobody has any idea truly what happened unless you're on the inside. But it feels like one of their big investors backed out and owed them some money and they never got the payment for what they were owed, and they were having to make massive budget cuts because they didn't get the income stream that they had planned for. So again, I want to make it clear that this is complete speculation. Everything's alleged, and I have no more idea of what happened than any of you watching. But for them to have to make such a huge cut would make me think that they either made some horrible investments and just spent their money in some really bad ways, or some revenue stream and income that they had anticipated fell through. The day that it happened, Tony Niddle, he goes by Canoodle, he has an awesome Twitch stream that I'll link below if you want to check it out, went on Twitch, and he has been streaming DRL Sim tournaments 6 times a week for years now and genuinely never makes more than like $50 a month. But he just loves it. He loves the community. He's passionate about it. And it's something that he does to give back to the community out of his own time. I mean, he spends 6 hours every Tuesday, every Thursday, and every Sunday giving back to the community through hosting these tournaments. And he's done an incredible job growing our sport as a content creator and just as a pilot and personality and a dear friend. And he was on staff at DRL, and he was one of those who got laid off. It's really sad to see, and I hate that for him, but at the same time, he handled it so well. He hopped on and just mentioned how he has no hard feelings at all towards the league, and he understands that it's business and there's sometimes that these things have to happen. But it really gave me a huge sense of hope when dozens of pilots logged on and donated hundreds of dollars to TK's stream just to show support for him and to say thank you for the years of hard work that he has put in at the DRL and also on Twitch for these simulator races. And wildly enough, he is continuing to stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and this is not going to set him back for wanting to continue to build the drone racing community. And I've so much respect for him. And once again, I'll link his Twitch channel down below, and seriously, go check it out. He does some awesome content over there. My big question is, with the DRL going through all of these hardships and changes, I'm curious what other leagues are going to do and what it's going to look like for them. If there was ever a Netflix taking on the blockbuster giant moment for these leagues, it's right now. And I can't wait to see the innovation that comes out of this new wave of inspiration to continue to build drone racing. If you're new to drone racing and you want to find out some other leagues that you could find out some more information on, I highly recommend checking out MultiGP. They're an international organization that has chapters all around the world for local racing, as well as their own events like the International Open, their own MultiGP Championship, and the 24 Hours of Mayhem. They do some incredible events that are absolutely worth checking out. Their Street League that's incorporating boosting into their races. It's adding some innovation to the sport to kind of gamify and keep things really interesting. I love what they're doing over there. There's Freedom Spec that's doing some incredible things. They just had their championship recently. There's the DCL, Major League Drone Racing. There's so many other options, especially when you look to a global scale of how many different leagues there are around the world. There's all kinds of different content for you to check out for drone racing. So I think all in all, yes, it's a really sad day for the sport, and ultimately it's the most sad for those who were directly affected by losing their jobs and their income and their livelihood. My heart goes out to those who are directly affected by this, but I also think that this is an opportunity, that we can view this as a form of hope, that drone racing isn't dead, and that I genuinely think it's more alive than ever right now. And it's going to look a little bit different, but different's okay. I am so thankful for the time that I could spend watching DRL races and being as involved as I have been. But I want to continue to explore other leagues and see what they're up to, and continue to try my best to be a contributor to the growth of the sport. So if you want to continue finding out more and more about this awesome sport, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to have you along for the ride. We're doing some amazing things trying to see how this sport is changing and keep up along with it, as well as keeping all of you informed of what you can look forward to. And I've got some amazing things in the pipeline, so please consider subscribing. If you have any further questions about the DRL and what's going on, if you have any insight that you want to tell me confidentially, I would love to find out more. You can go ahead and leave a comment down below, or send a personal message to me on my Instagram at Mad Props Podcast. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I am Jordan Kyle, signing off. I think that was good.